Is the message of Rastafari that you should go back to Africa?
Yes, and that the earth must rule by Africa. Forward. One government. Forward, not back, forward.
Yeah? Go forward to Africa,
Yes.
not back. Do you think that will ever happen? Do you really believe that will happen?
Yeah.
This way. We have what it takes to fix it. And the conversation is already begun on what do we realistically do to be able to get the African Union to take charge of the affairs of our continent. Let me give you a case in point. We decided, for example, that we are going to assemble our market using the Africa Continental Free Trade Area market.
Yes, that's good
ecosystem.
Yeah.
And the positive thing is that it was unbelievable at the rate at which we were able to achieve consensus and we were able to achieve ratification. And I want to tell you, it is among the things that happen in the shortest time possible. It tells you there is greater realization that unless we act in concert, unless we act together, we are unlikely to make any impact anywhere. We have, at least on the market issue, we have put that together. There is a debate that is going to evolve. Like, for example, we have also decided that it will not going to be business as usual. We have these meetings, Africa-US meeting, Africa-Europe, Africa-Turkey, Africa...
India.
Now we are waiting for, there is another one, Africa-Russia.
And Africa-Japan.
And Africa-Japan. We have made the decision that it is not intelligent for 54 of us to go and sit before one gentleman from another place. I mean, and sometimes we are mistreated.
Yeah.
You know, we are loaded into buses like school chips. You know, and it's not right.
Well, you are summoned. You know,
it's not right. So the decision that we have made as AU is that going forward, if there is going to be a discussion between Africa and any other country, we are going to be represented by the chair, the outgoing chair, the bureau.
Chair of the commission
and
the chair
and the chair of the Rex, and we have 5 Rex. That should be sufficient for, I mean, a meeting of maybe 6, 7.
Yeah.
That should be able to represent Africa, and that is the position I am taking as the president of Kenya. For any other meeting that we are going to have with all these requests that we have a meeting between Africa and one other country. We respect the sovereignty of others. I think to ask for reciprocation is not to ask for too much.
No.
And for us to agree that let us have this kind of setup. The only, because I had a conversation with President Kagame and he actually led that particular position. I have had a conversation with Prime Minister Abiy. He believes very strongly that that should be the position of our continent. Because, as you have said, if we don't respect ourselves, nobody is going to respect us. And we should be able to take that kind of decision. Yeah. And part of that respecting ourselves is when we say African problems, African solutions. We must be serious about the solutions. It cannot be rhetoric. It cannot be talk. It must be accompanied by what realistically and practically we are doing.
And with our capacity, yeah. No, this is wonderful, but just one question. Why are you having this discussion in closed rooms? Why don't you bring several... African people need to tell their presidents, we care about Africa. That should be a priority. Unless we act really together, it doesn't work. And in the reform agenda of the African Union, if you and your colleagues are proceeding that way, there need to be really a serious discussion about the structures and how Africa is... one problem is African countries refuse to cede any sovereignty to the African Union. So African Union cannot sign a trade agreement in the heart of Africa. Then the African Union go and meet the European Union. This is not balanced.
It is not.
Because those guys had
27 countries, 20, and
Give them sovereignty.
Yes.
But our guys here don't want to give any sovereignty, cede to cede any sovereignty to the union, as if this is something very fantastic they have to keep. When countries like Germany, like big countries, agreed to cede sovereignty to the collective body because they are smart. They think when they are together, they negotiate better deals.
Are you
The
saying?
only stupid guys, unfortunately, are the British, who left that collection. But look, I'm free to say that because I'm also a British citizen, and so I have my views about what happened in Britain. I know we have British. The Jane is there, the High Commissioner, and the Archbishop. And I have the minister here also. You're gonna lose your job, I think. Anyway, BBC is not here, don't worry. Nobody watch Kenya TV, so don't worry. Anyway, so no, it's not a joke. I mean, it is truth. I mean, it is a mistake. Together, we're stronger. We do things better. And that's what we need the African people to press their governments. We need to be stronger. We need to have our union. We need to cede some of our sovereignty for the African Union. I'm not losing sovereignty because our collective sovereignty is huge. Is huge. Then we are somebody which can be respected around the world. We go out there in Europe, oh, we Africans, we African. I want to ask you, seriously, what do you mean you are Africans? You are South African, you're Nigerian, what do you mean you are Africans? Where is your government? What decisions you are able to make? What is Africa? Unless we have an African Union and a joint, a will, and then it doesn't work. So you made commitments now in front of all these people who are going to fight for that case. Is that correct?
You have my commitment, and not just me, by the way. I think a critical mass of African leaders is building on how we should act together. I told you, this particular position of consolidating what we need to do and how we need to engage with the rest of the world was actually driven by President Kagame.
Excellent.
We've talked with many other heads of state, and I think there is a critical mass emerging that we need to act differently. We need to work smart. Let me tell you of an unfortunate situation. I visited one of the countries, I don't want to say which one, and we were having a conversation about the economic partnership agreement between EAC and the EU.
Yeah.
The EU, 27 countries, 520 million people have agreed on what we need to do. EAC, we are sizable, 170 million people. Then one country, and I don't want to say which one, refused to sign. So he said, no, we need to teach this